Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Welcome, everybody, to Life Transformation Radio. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, performance enhancement expert, and author, Sean Douglas. This show is heard in over 40 countries, such as the U.S., India, Canada, France, Australia, and Panama. So I want to thank you to those who are listening to the show from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformations. Here, we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformational moment that changed our lives and how we are using these to help transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us every Wednesday and on the first and third Fridays live at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can join our Facebook community, Life Transformation Radio Community. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, or just go to the Google Play app. We're all over the Google Play app. On the show are impactful and amazing guests that are impacting everyone around them. And my guest today does exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests during our live broadcast, you can call into the show at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. So welcome to the show, Rosie. How do you say your last name, Rosie?
Aiello.
Aiello, got it. Rosie Aiello. How's it going?
Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. I'm in sunny San Diego, California.
It's about 40, almost 50 degrees here in Goldsboro, North Carolina. It's about an hour east of Raleigh, so it's a little chilly here, but supposedly it's supposed to be 60 degrees tomorrow. We'll see. No, I doubt it.
I won't rub it in. It's almost double here, but
or
1.5.
Oh, my gosh. Jeez. You make it so inviting. So we met at New Media Summit, and I was blown away at how many people you and I actually have in common. I'm like, how do we not connect before? Like, that's pretty crazy, but we're connected now, and I learned a lot from you. Loved chatting with you. So I know the listeners are going to absolutely love hearing your story and what you're doing.
Well, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here, Sean.
Absolutely. So if you're ready, I am ready.
I'm ready. Absolutely.
So this episode is titled 11 Hours to Freedom with Rosie Aiello. Rosie lived for nearly 25 years in her own personalized terror camp, being subjected to her husband's financial abuse and psychological, emotional, and verbal onslaught until she executed, a little over 8 years ago, an international escape to save her daughter and herself from that insidious abuse. Nearly mentally destroyed, she reinvented herself since arriving back in the United States, started her own business, and became a speaker, a best-selling author, and an international award-winning entrepreneur. Rosie and her daughter are now sharing their powerful story of escape, healing, and freedom in their upcoming memoir called 11 Hours to Freedom. She now helps women fulfill their potential, find their worth and voice, while helping them realize that they deserve to create a joyful life and be treated with kindness. 11 Hours to Freedom is about the unbreakable bond of love between a passionate mother and her strong-willed daughter that carries them through an international escape from domestic abuse and leads them on a tumultuous journey of freedom, healing, and a movement to save other women. You can join the global Love is Kind movement and help save 1 million plus women and their children from domestic abuse. Just go to www.11hourstofreedom.com. If you want to connect with Rosie, go ahead and search for her on LinkedIn. It's Rosie Aiello, A-I-E-L-L-O. She's on Facebook. Facebook.com/Rosie Rosebud53. Twitter and Facebook. Twitter is Rosie Clear Vista. Facebook groups Love is Kind Movement. Search for the Facebook group Love is Kind Movement. So, Rosie, I'm just dying to ask you, you kind of said it in here, what is your why? Why are you doing what you do?
Sean, when I started to write the memoir with my daughter about a year ago, it's almost about a year exactly. You know how the title of your talk, your podcast and radio is, life transformation. I went through one when I escaped, but boy, last year writing the book, I went through a huge transformation of, wow, this is what I need to do. And I wasn't expecting it. I had been, a great business coach and time management, productivity consulting. And then as I wrote the book and what I was going through, the messages were just keep getting downloaded that, look, girl, this is what you need to do. Women need your help. Women and children need your help. And our goal, my daughter's and mine, is like, we don't want another woman or child to have to go through what we did, because your life, your time is just too precious to live in mental anguish and in terror.
Yep.
So I'm on a mission, a big mission, and I'm going for it, baby.
I love it. Yeah. So yeah, I think that our why is got to be at the forefront of everything we do, right? When we wake up in the morning, our why is everything. It gives us direction. It gives us purpose. It gives us clarity. Like, there's so much about it. And so your why is that you went through a horrific abusive relationship for 25 years. I'm sure it wasn't all bad. We always talk about, like, it was abuse, it was this. I'm sure it didn't start out, because nobody says, oh yeah, I want to be abused. Like, sign me up, let's do this. Right? It's a gradual thing, and because I have my own stories of abuse from my ex-stepfather who beat me, my older sister, and my mom all the time. It didn't start out that way. It was a gradual abuse. It was, what can I get away with? What can I get away with? What can I get away with? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, what can I get away with? What can I get away with? Right? Is that kind of what happened?
In my case, it was a little sneakier, I might say. We weren't so much physically abused. I want to say, for me, it happened a couple of times. But here he was, sort of the classic narcissist / sociopath. So he would be sweet, the life of the party, was brilliant, a great businessman. We had a lot of great values. But then he would just keep putting me down, and then he would insult me. And, I had, before marriage, worked in corporate finance in Silicon Valley. I was a rising star there. And so, like, well, if I'm not good enough, well, then I'm going to try harder. And so my life became trying to please him all the time. And truth be told, I didn't even know I was in an abusive relationship for the first 18 years of my marriage, because I was living in the Middle East. I lived in Saudi Arabia for about 12 years and Lebanon for 12 years. Oh, wow. So I was, even though we came back to California where we met, for vacations, to see my family and our friends, basically I was isolated. And this is a very common feature of these controlling types. They take you away from your support system. So I had left my family, my friends, my career, everything that meant to me, and then he just put me into this environment. I accepted it. It's not like he put me, but it was very controlled. So it was very hard to create friendships there, because he just made it always extremely difficult for me.
Yeah. I wanna talk about some of the stats that I had posted. On average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million men and women. Because I want to put it out there that it's not just a woman problem, it's a man problem too. Men are abused, whether it be a guy and guy relationship, a guy and girl relationship, like it doesn't matter. Like a relationship can be abusive. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 women, 1 in 3 men and 1 in 4, 1 in 3 women. Jeez, I can't even talk. And 1 in 4 men have been victims of some form of physical violence by an intimate partner within their lifetime. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men have been victims of severe physical violence by an intimate partner. On a typical day, there are more than 20,000 phone calls placed to domestic violence hotlines nationwide. Holy crap. That is insane. And it says women between the ages of 18 to 24 are most commonly abused by an intimate partner, and 19% of that is domestic violence that includes a weapon. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
it is. I mean, and people wonder, I've heard like, why are the women now in the Me Too movement just coming out? Because when your voice has been squelched, when you are intimidated, you're scared for your life. And these women in Hollywood, it's like, oh, well, this is a career I wanted. I have to give up my career to. Okay, so I'm not going to give up my career. I'm going to give in. Do I want to give in? No. And you keep getting a piece of you chipped away. And the abuse that I particularly suffered, which is I didn't have physical scars. The scars are all internal, which makes it so much more difficult, because what happens is that your psyche, your internal system of thinking and believing in yourself is completely destroyed. So I'm a physical person, on the outside, I look great, but inside I was completely destroyed. And when you lose, I wish I were hit in a way, because then I said, okay, see, proof? I had no proof. These guys, look great on the outside, and they do good things, but they also do bad things behind closed doors, right? Behind the closed doors. It's a different story. And we are not in the stats. Women and, men who are verbally abused and psychologically abused, there aren't stats on that. But I know from my own speaking career, when I would speak, women would come up to me, and I can say in any crowd, let's say any group of women, for every 10 women, there will be 3 women who've been abused verbally. And I proved it over and over. I mean, where we met, you cannot imagine how many women came up to me after they heard some of my story. But so I just see the stats all the time. It's so sad. And one of my taglines is that love is kind, not terrorizing. I lived in the Middle East, like I was mentioning, and I lived under political terrorism. I was, I've seen it. I've been through bombs and fire and, assassinations and you name it. I know what it's like. And that's why I called it living in my own personalized terror camp, because that's what it is, right? Weren't you being terrorized at home, Sean? I mean, that's not a way, you expect somebody to love you, right? If you're a POW, you don't really expect your captor to be friendly and sweet to you, but you do with your family.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And I think that speaks, I mean, that's huge. I mean, we'll hold the door open for strangers, but we'll treat those closest to us terribly and horribly. And I've yet to figure out why. I don't know why we do that. I catch myself sometimes getting short with my wife. I'm like, I can't believe it. She's like, don't eat. I'm like, okay. I'm getting really mad. Like I'm getting, and she knows because something happened at work or something happened at, I'm bidding on these contracts to speak somewhere. I mean, you know how it is. Like you're waiting, like, come on, pick me, and I get like real short with her, and she's like, don't, no. And so she really is pretty good about catching me, but we're so mean to those that we love the most.
We have, part of it is because there's that comfort level. So, and, good for you, good for your wife that she's managing her boundaries. And, a lot of people don't know how to manage their boundaries. People like my ex-husband, he probably, if you go back to his childhood, there was probably something that happened. And, for him to be a narcissist, controlling, sociopathic, pathological behavior. However, it's not so important, why he became that way, at least not for me. What's important is that I don't need to live it or be a martyr to it. I don't need to stay in that kind of a terrorized, because I realized that my life is important. My daughter's life is important. I had to save our lives. And and we can't change anybody if they choose, it's like, them, hey, I didn't really want to do that, and they get help and they change their behavior, great. But some people are just not, they won't recognize it, or they're not willing to do that. And then it's up to us, because we could only take care of ourselves, to take the steps that are necessary. And, it's not easy. I mean, I speak to women all over the world, and, executing that escape was pretty challenging, especially since he was there 24/7, just about.
Yeah. So looking back, can you tell us what that transformational moment was like?
Yes. I mean, there are a couple transformational moments for me.
Okay.
When I was back there, back in the Middle East, and it was after being married 18 years, when I started to get a book, and I read, I thought, oh, so this is not a normal relationship. It's like you don't even know what a healthy relationship is. At least, I mean, not you, but me. I guess I didn't know. I think a lot of people don't either. And then I started to get more information. I thought, oh my God, this is my life. I don't want to live this life. I don't want to be a martyr. I mean, I'm Catholic, but it's like, hello, I'm still not going to be a martyr. I didn't choose that in my life. And it's like, but because of the situation in the Middle East, and custody automatically goes to the father. There's no custody court. It's just cast and that's it. So I didn't want to leave without my daughter, so I actively chose to stay until she was of major, at least 18, and then she got into college, and then she was the one who said, "Mom, get me out of here," because I told her, when you're ready, you let me know. So that was the first, just realizing our lives are important. I don't need to suffer like this. It doesn't matter what anybody around me says. So that was the major realization, that I deserve a life. And then when last year, like I said, I started to write the memoir, then things really started to shift. Talk about a transformation. And then I had the conversation from God, the big G.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like, I could just hear it now. He's like, Rosie, yes, do you think you're going to win this? Because I was resisting all the signs he was showing me. He goes, I chose you. I chose you to help these women and children. And I'm shaking in my boots. I go, well, wait a minute. I didn't sign up for this. And he goes, are you arguing with me? It's like, are you really arguing with me? I go, well, not really, but, why me? Why are you putting this big mission on me? And he goes, well, I chose you. I go, okay. So it was a very transformational year, but really, I got to say, it was getting knocked in the head by God and saying, this is your mission, woman. And I'm stepping up to help other women. My memoir is not about my daughter or me, about my story. The memoir really is about to bring light to the issue and to help other women and children. So if I can save one life, it's worth it.
That's amazing. So tell us, how did you escape? Was it you jumped on a plane and just flew over? I mean, what was there steps that you needed to take, planning?
Yeah. I planned it in 4 months. So my daughter told me in April of 2009, and in July 27th, 2009, we arrived in San Francisco International Airport. So yes, it took a lot of planning. First, I had to figure out, how to pack things up and get them out of the house while he
Sure.
wasn't around. And imagine this, Sean. I'm living in Lebanon now. So in Lebanon, we have power outages anywhere from 4 to 12 hours a day. And we're on the 4th floor. So I had to, one, collect boxes to pack things in. I had to make sure there was electricity so when I packed the boxes, I could get it into my car. We were in a small condominium building, so I had to make sure that it was at night and none of the busybody neighbors could see me and start asking me questions. Well, why do you keep putting boxes in the back of your car? I had to make sure that, my husband wasn't around and wasn't suspicious of me, going off into, and our house wasn't that big, into the other bathroom where I locked the door and packed things up. So all of this was happening, and sometimes I astound myself, like, how did I do it? In the meantime, I'm coordinating with my brother to talk to, to interview divorce attorneys when I arrive. I made lists and lists of things I had to do. I copied critical documents, all of these things, because my background is strategic planning and forecasting and budgeting from corporate, so I had sort of a planning background. So every year, as a family, the three of us fly to California to visit my family and our friends. So I planned it so that we would go together on the plane. He wouldn't be suspicious because there was no way I could get out of the country without him not knowing.
Right.
So it's like I piggybacked that annual trip. I had told my brother, so my brother met us at the airport. I knew exactly where my brother was going to be standing, exactly. So when those doors opened up, I just felt like I had to scan the crowd to see where he would be. My daughter and I had our little trolleys or whatever you call luggage carts. We parked them around behind my brother. And my brother knew, because I was so afraid of my husband. Because his terror was getting worse the longer we were married, and he was doing the same thing to our daughter. So that was what was really bad. So I had my brother walk over to my ex and to my husband and say, Rosie's upset. She needs to be away for a little bit. I couldn't even have my brother tell him, she's leaving you forever. I was just too scared to utter those words. And so we turned our backs on him and we left him alone standing in the airport.
Wow. So he was with you on the plane.
Yes. And I tell you,
he landed
man,
everything. He had no idea.
No idea. No idea. So I outsmarted him. And, so it takes planning and a lot of nerve. And we had a lot of close calls. Let me tell you, it was scary.
Oh, my gosh. You just ran out of the airport?
No, we just walked. Because I was with my brother. I felt safe with my brother. He was so stunned. He just had no clue. And because I wasn't a resident of California, because I didn't live there, even though I was from there, I couldn't issue divorce papers yet. I had to do legal separation until I got residency, and I knew where he was staying, so he was served, but it was a long process, a very long process.
Sit with him on that long of a plane ride, knowing what you're about to do, and him having no idea. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my heart was beating. It's like, oh my God, can he hear my thoughts? Can he hear my heart? It's like, oh my God, when you're hiding, you're feeling like a little guilty. It's like, oh my God, it's like every little thing you're like, oh, gets magnified.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. So, what has been the best part about your transformation?
Well, first of all, and this is the absolute truth. There isn't really a day that goes by that I don't look out my window and really appreciate my freedom. The path has not been, I can't say it's been really smooth or easy since arriving, but I would never in a split second change it for the freedom that I have. And I never knew anything about transformation or limiting beliefs or developing myself. I mean, I've lived in the Middle East for 25 years. We don't talk about that stuff. And to grow as a person. I mean, I tell people, I'm just an adolescent. I'm just starting my life. And that's what it feels like. It's just been so beautiful to grow into a new person and to have that view that I'm constantly growing and constantly learning and changing. And now I get to help others. It's like, what could be better? I mean, retirement is not even in my vocabulary. It's like, I'll just be helping others. And, they tell you, you go through these experiences so you can help others. And, I didn't quite buy that, but,
Sure.
Now I get to use that. I get to use that experience to help others. And it's just beautiful. I don't know what else to say. It's just, I love it when I'm in front of people. I love it when I'm speaking and talking, and you can hear, wow, the transformation immediately when you're talking to somebody. There's nothing better in life, is there, than when you've helped somebody, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh yeah. See, something you've been looking out your window a lot, right? So what has been the worst part about your transformation?
For it's been, the hardest part is, especially in the beginning, I was, we were both diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and dealing with all the trauma and the triggers, and then me as a mother, having to manage my daughter who has complex PTSD, which is sort of a more significant, more serious form of PTSD, and it's been challenging. So as I'm trying to manage my own mental health and her mental health, and when I was going through the divorce and building my business and making friends, it was just like everything was hitting me, and so it gets overwhelming sometimes. But again, I just wouldn't trade it. It's like I had the comfort of I had a nice home, good food, all these material things. I didn't have to worry about money. I was fortunate in that sense that he provided. I didn't get a penny from the divorce or alimony or anything, but I had my freedom. So I just keep going back to that. But that's why I said it's not been a super easy path, but I'm on a path. I'm in action. Yeah. I keep going, and now even more so than ever.
I applaud your courage. Like, oh my gosh, I completely applaud your courage. So, who has been your biggest influencers through the whole thing? Who was influencing you?
Yes, so many people, right? There's just so many people. From the very first friend I think I met, who in San Francisco, we became colleagues. I became her client. She became my client. She introduced me to a business coach, Katerina Rando, because I knew zero. I mean, I knew nothing about being an entrepreneur. I worked in corporate, but I didn't know anything. Getting more into the personal development field and learning about people, Brennan Burchard and, to some degree, Tony Robbins, listening to them, and Oprah, listening to women's empowerment, really getting into women's empowerment speakers, and the TED Talks. Congratulations to you, right?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All of these. I've just been a sponge for listening. I've read, especially on my topic. My therapists have been a huge influence on me and helping me grow, so I'm not triggered, and helping me grow. And I will I'm grateful to them tremendously, so I can do my work. I'm a big reader, so I don't know how many books I read, but I read a whole new field, on trauma, which is
Wow.
PTSD and how to overcome that. So it's been a big journey in learning, and I love to do that. So that's good. And I love to read and listen to podcasts, and the Blog Talk Radio. These kinds of shows are so important. I would just encourage people to do that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So who's been like really supporting you now? Who do you have a network around you? I mean, I saw, we had a couple of people that were at the New Media Summit in San Diego, and like we knew some of the same people. I'm like, that's awesome. So who's your supporters now?
So I'm a big believer in having a big group of people around me in different functions. I'm in a mastermind. I'm active on my Facebook. So, like Katrina, I think is one of our mutual friends. I have, my friends from San Francisco, and friends/colleagues, because I didn't have any friends, right? Because I had been out of the country for 25 years. So really everybody who's my friend is a business colleague of some sort. I have a group of women in the eWomen Network. It's a huge women's organization, and I'm active in that.
And your Facebook group. It's a huge support.
Yes, my Facebook group, the Love is Kind movement. This is our movement to help really talk about what we want, and what we want is that love is. We want kindness, right? That's what I want. I didn't want to talk about abuse. I wanted to talk about what is it that we want. We want kindness.
Right.
So let's talk about that love is kind. So that's been really great, being in that community. And all the mentorship programs that I'm in, I've been studying NLP, and so that whole group, and my speaking group, and I just met with a woman yesterday, and we're going to collaborate now. So I'm a huge networker. Yeah, I'm a huge networker. And seeking that out, and my guy, I have a guy.
Yeah, there's a guy in the life.
He's been a big supporter. Boy. Yeah, and my daughter. I mean, we're just really great teammates too. She coaches me, and I coach her. She's a great intuitive, really, and she's a visionary. She's a really fabulous visionary. So we support each other. It works both ways.
That's awesome. So if you're just joining us, Life Transformation Radio listeners, you can call in 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. We're talking with Rosie Aiello, who is talking about her daring escape and living life of abuse, and how she is now, her and her daughter are sharing their powerful testimony. So if anything resonates with you, you can call in 657-383-1109. So Rosie, for someone who's listening and they want to leave, they want to escape, they want to get away, what is your advice to someone who knows, like, I'm going to have to start over? So what is your advice to them, not only to get out of the fear of starting over, but the process?
Yeah. First of all, to the extent that you can, plan it. I would just say, get all the documents and really plan it if you can, because I've talked to many women who just, they have hours to leave, and for whatever the circumstances is, and it is what it is. If you can plan it, go ahead, because then you can just gather more stuff. The worst thing, Sean, and I'm sure you'll agree, is to do this alone. Feel like, shame can be the worst prisoner, or the worst shackle. And because you're so you feel so ashamed, you feel like you can't reach out. So number 2 is to talk to somebody. And if you feel like there's nobody you can talk to, then they can reach out to me. Talk to somebody. Believe in yourself that your life is worth it, that you haven't done anything wrong to deserve this. Rather, that you deserve to be treated with kindness and respect. You are worthy. And life, when you have your freedom, is worth more than what money can buy and being in terror. So I would just encourage them. It will work out. And I'm not going to promise it will be easy, but it's your life, your one precious life, right? You deserve to have a life where you can create, you have the opportunity to create a joyful life, to have your own thoughts, to express your own thoughts, to feel freedom inside your heart.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I know. We had a close knit family. My mom's family. Because I remember the last time that she was abused, and I think she's just I'm done. Like the cops showed up. Like this. I mean, the cops were always there, but cops showed up, took him away, and he's like, the cops were like, if you want him to stay away, you just let us know. If you, and she was like all, face not, I mean. Busted up,
Yeah.
And
she doesn't deserve that. No one does.
No. And I remember her saying, just keep him away for a couple of days. Just keep him away for a couple of days. And then I remember, the next day, I mean, we were like pack mode. Like we're like, I mean, let's pack. Let's get out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I remember all of our family was there, trucks upon trucks. I mean, we just like we didn't even really pack anything. It was like just throw what you can into a bag, find some boxes. Like nothing was organized. It was like just throw everything and just get out. It was almost watching an episode of Escaping Polygamy. Have you ever watched that show? They just throw everything in laundry baskets and whatever boxes and suitcases, whatever, and they're out. And they are gone. And that's what we did. I mean, I remember leaving things behind. Just leave it. Just leave it. You want these dishes? Nope, leave it. Like, we're out. Like, we grabbed minimum essentials and we were gone,
Yeah, so, I get that. And it's really sad. I mean, I just, I took the first thing that I packed when I was there were photos. And when I got here, you just realize, like, memories. You don't need things, right? I didn't need anything. It's like, oh, I really like that one rug. But it's like, that would have just, one, I didn't need it. And two, it would have been a memory of something that I didn't want to have. And having that freedom, right? I just can't emphasize enough that every person's life is worth it. And if there's help for everybody. If you feel like you're alone, there will be somebody there who can help you and direct you to the right group, association, until you get your on your feet. And this is one of my missions. I don't have it set up yet, but it's to create a nonprofit, a foundation to help women when they are just sort of either thrown out or they find themselves alone. Because a lot of people say, yeah, Rosie, tell me to leave, but how am I going to survive? This is such a huge question. How am I going to survive? Right. So if we can give them some funding for, a few months' rent so they can maybe, or help them find a job, or get them some mental, some therapy or something to get them stronger. Because when women are confident, right, they can do things, and they can be good role models for their children. It was sad that you had to see this growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
And so what are some resources that people can use and find that will help them? Well,
you put on some good sites on your page and stuff like that. If they need to go to the domestic violence hotline, they should definitely do that. It's just critical. But on my site, they can go to 11hourstofreedom.com. There's a free download for them. They can write to me, and I can give them more specific information depending on what they need. In our book, 11 Hours to Freedom, that will be coming out, we're going to have a huge resource section It's not going to be your typical memoir. We're going to have a huge resource section, for people to get access to what they need. It's scary. It's like some people have never managed their money before, right? Mm-hmm. How do I do this? There's so many scary things. What I want to say is that as scary as you think it is, it's not worse than being in terror every day of your life, or most of the times. That's not a life. At least on the outside, right. You get to create your own life. Don't do it alone. Just Definitely. reach out, and get help.
Awesome. It's necessary. I mean, no one should live the life of any sort of abuse at all. Emotional, physical. I've heard of financial abuse where, like, they have a job, but as soon as they come home or as soon as they get a paycheck, whatever, it's taken from them. So it's almost like you're cutting off their funds, to escape.
Well, and that was my case. I mean, Sean, I have an MBA in finance. It's like some help it did for me, right? So I know about money, but first of all, he made it really difficult for me to work when I was overseas. He would just insult me and just tell me, or he would say, oh, well, that's not enough. And he would make me price myself so high that I wouldn't get the job. I worked for his company. It was a small engineering firm. And for most of the time, he didn't pay me. I didn't get anything. And then when he decided, well, yeah, okay, you get paid, I never, ever saw my salary. He says, you get paid, but then he decided how that money was going to be spent. I never saw it. I knew where all the money was, but my name was not on any account because he was not an American. He was Lebanese Christian. He says, well, it'll be better, if you're on the account, then we'll have to pay U.S. taxes and all this. I go, okay, because, you don't think that you're going to be betrayed by your, the person who's supposed to love you, right? You don't think that. You trust people, right? Mistake. But, that's the way it was. Yeah. And I was over there. I didn't have anything to, anybody to ask, or I couldn't do anything. It was his word, right? I had no authority. So when I left with nothing and I got nothing. But I figured that, and my freedom is still worth it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so there's lots of financial abuse. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So what are you doing now? You said that, we were talking about, you help women fulfill their potential, find their worth and voice, realize that they're created for joy and to be treated with kindness. So how does that happen? If someone wants to connect with you, what exactly do you do for them?
So I am actually, have a program called 11 Hours to Freedom. And we go over, it's a wonderful program where we're going over exactly those things, just like, how to, really establishing their values, teaching them to ask for what they want, how to set healthy boundaries, owning their own truth, because I know for me, it's like, this is what's causes a crazy making. It's like, you think you know the truth, and they say, oh, no, that didn't happen. That's not the way it is. But it did, because they're trying to always play with your mind. So you forget what is your own truth within your own heart. Helping them build their confidence. I have strategies for that. Developing ways for self-kindness. It's so easy, when you've been in a situation where you've been abused, the abuser is always on your case. You leave the abuser and you start attacking yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm not right enough. I'm stupid. All these, because they were ingrained in you. So we gotta undo all that stuff. How to make good decisions because you don't trust yourself anymore. So it's a whole program to really help the woman really strengthen her whole inner core. And when she does that, she's more confident. She does better in her, whether if she's a professional or an entrepreneur, because it's mostly mindset, right? But this is deeper when you've been abused, because it's like limiting beliefs on steroids.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what I work on because I've been there and I know the mindset of that. So that's what my program does, and they walk out a different person.
That's amazing. That's awesome. It's very it's needed. Like people need this.
Yeah.
You know, I suggest everybody connect. Everybody does. So that leaves us to the shameless plug. You can plug your friend quotes, your websites, favorite movie, give a shout out, whatever you want. This is your moment to shamelessly plug whatever you want.
Oh,
Go.
well, thank you, Sean. Okay, well, first of all, you can reach me at 11hourstofreedom@gmail.com, 11hourstofreedom@gmail.com, and tell me you heard me on Sean's Life Transformation Radio. Tell me that, and we'll have a conversation of what kind of support that you need. You can go to 11hourstofreedom.com, and I have a wonderful handout for you, a nice little ebook called 11 Keys to Confidently Ask for What You Want. Because, women, we were so controlled and not allowed to speak. It's like, how could we even think to ask for something? So most women can't even articulate the ask, and then once they figure out what the ask is, they can't even ask it. So, because I knew that was from my problem, right? So it gives you a lot of great strategies to do that. We're writing our book. What I would love is for people to get excited about the book, tell their friends about the book, and we're doing that through the Love is Kind movement. It's to help save 1 million women and children. So that's on the Facebook, and go to Facebook groups and look for Love is Kind movement. That is a way to reach me. You can reach me on my Facebook, private message me. Just mention Sean, our buddy Sean. I want to hear his name when you're talking to me. That's really important.
Right.
I want to help you create the life that you deserve, because you do deserve to have a joyful life. You do deserve to be treated with kindness. And I want to thank Steve Ultra for bringing you and me together, Sean.
Yeah.
You're an amazing guy, and I love the work that you're doing. I just love the work that you're doing. And
thank you so much.
We just need to keep doing our share. I'm just saying, I'm doing my share. I know I'm not the only one doing it. I have my own story, and I'm on a mission that will be fulfilled. Because God told me to do it, so I'm not going to disappoint him anymore. I mean, I don't want to have another talk.
Surrender and move on. Surrender and step fully into the purpose. Yeah. Step fully into the will.
And it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah. So what are you doing now? Talk about where you're headed now. New adventures, businesses, family. What is your life like today?
So today, I mean, we are on the final pages of writing the memoir. It's going to the final, like the next week or two. So I'm doing that. I'm, working on the program, getting people involved in joining this 11 Hours to Freedom group program for women. I am getting on the speaking circuit. So if other people are would like speakers, I want to, especially for women's audiences, I'm doing that. I am also, planning to do a podcast later this year to talk about my story and to help other women. I'm collaborating with another woman to do a documentary. Our goal is also to get our story into probably film. It's already been pitched to a movie producer. We haven't heard from them,
That's
but
cool.
We're hoping. We want to get in front of Reese Witherspoon. So if anybody knows about Reese,
yeah, she's a huge advocate for this.
Yes, and she's looking for stories, and people have been telling us for years, it should be made into a book, a movie. So okay, we're doing it. We're just on fire. We're just on fire. And the goal is always to help save, 1 million women and their children. And however we can do that, that's our mission. So if people can just spread the word, join the Love is Kind movement, tell people about the book, when the book is out, or when we start to pre-orders to order the book. Because this is what's important, Sean, is that you saw me, right? You know what I physically look like. I mean, looking at me, would you think that I look like a woman who was abused?
No, right?
That's just it. And that's why I want this book in everyone's hand, because you don't know. Women are not going to tell you, oh, I'm being abused right now, because the shame is just strangulating them.
Right.
So this book needs to be in everyone's hands, because you don't know what their story is. They could be your best friend, and she could be suffering, or he could be suffering. We don't know. And that's why my goal is to get like 100,000 people to really get into this movement, talk about the story, talk about these topics. So anybody who can help do that or has connections of how to build the movement and create this would be wonderful.
Yeah, that would be super. God, that would be amazing to hear that somebody heard our episode and they reached out, was like, okay, let's get help. I know people who need help. You know what I mean? That would be oh, that would be amazing to hear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as we wrap up and close the show, can you deliver your best nugget of knowledge that will motivate, transcend, and inspire someone to take action?
That's a beautiful request. The time is now.
Yes.
The time is now.
Yes.
Because your life is precious, and you deserve, you deserve a happy and joyful life, and you have to go after it, and you don't have to be alone. But the time is now, and if you feel like you have cement shoes like I did, know that there's somebody there who's going to knock those cement shoes off and is going to help you along the way, because you won't be alone. So you can do it. You're not alone. Your life is worth it.
And let's just throw in there that the longer you wait, the worse it gets.
And it's not going to get better, and it will get worse. I mean, statistically, abuse gets worse over time. Yeah, It gets worse over time.
Because you get away with more stuff.
Yeah.
And it becomes normal. It becomes, that's my life. Right. This is what we do now. This is just, right? Because before it's like both of you were kind of awkward, like, oh my God, I can't believe it just happened. There's apologies and there's this, and years down the road, it's just like this is what life is normal. This is a normal life, when you're in it. But it's
no insulting. Like you don't deserve a life of insulting, of diminishment, of being hit, of being treated rudely. You have to look for the patterns, right? You don't deserve that. That's not a healthy relationship. And if you have any kind of like you're wondering in the back of your mind, if you have a doubt, you're right. And if you think there is no way out. And if other people have
told you this.
Yes. Yeah. And if other people have told you this, things that you don't recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Your life is worth it. Your children's life is worth it. If it's not for you, do it for your children.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this.
Exactly.
You need to save yourself.
So give us a call to action. What should someone do today? We talked about going to your website, which is 11hourstofreedom.com. But what should someone do today? Maybe somebody who's not in abuse, should they reach out to their friends and maybe ask them how their relationships are? Maybe somebody inside of abuse, maybe evaluate what your relationship is like. But what do you think the listeners should do today?
I think part of the problem is that people are afraid to share what it is, and if you suspect somebody is in an abusive relationship, the most important thing is to not judge them. To not say, oh, why are you with that jerk? Get rid of him, because it's extremely difficult to leave a relationship. So if you're outside, just say, you know what? When you need me, not if, when you need me, I'm gonna be here for you. So call me, and just say it like that, because she's gonna know what it means. And then for the person on the inside, is to say, when somebody says that to me, call them. You don't need to be alone. You do have to take action. As scary as it might be, just take that first step, and then you'll realize, oh, it wasn't so bad after all. Because that's how it was for me. I lived in shame. I mean, 25 years, nobody really knew about my life. And then when I arrived in the United States and told everybody, I had so much support, I thought, wow, if I had this earlier, things could have been different. I would have maybe had to stay in that long. But I've created my own prison. Don't create your own prison on top of the one that's being given to you.
Right. I feel like I get this feeling, just someone is listening right now who needs to hear this. Like, you have the power to change your situation and leave and make a better life. You don't have to live in a life of abuse. Someone is hearing this and needs support. So reach out. Reach out to your friends. Reach out to your family. Reach out to Rosie, who lived it and is telling her story about it. Reach out to Rosie. All of the links are in there. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, her website. Find the Love is Kind movement on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. It's amazing. I'm in there. Rosie does an amazing job of empowering everybody. So if anything resonated today, reach out to one of us and make it happen. So thank you, Rosie, so much for being on the show. You're making a difference. You're doing something that is so, so needed. Based on the statistics, oh my gosh, 10 million women a year are abused. Yeah, and it's just got to stop.
Yeah, it has to stop.
I didn't think it was that many. I was like, a million, maybe a million. Yeah. No, like 10 million annually. That is way too many.
You're right. And that doesn't even include, like we were saying, the verbal abuse, which I suffered from. It's insidious. It gets into your core, destroys your psyche.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You got to help everybody. Mm-hmm.
So you're amazing. So happy to connect with you, and thank you so much for your time and being on the show.
Thank you. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
Life Transformation Radio listeners, another amazing guest, another amazing and impactful story. If anything resonated with you, please reach out to Rosie and reach out to myself. You can go to iTunes and subscribe to the show on iTunes. You can subscribe on Stitcher or the Google Play app. On your phone, if you're an Android, Google Play Music. We are on that app, so subscribe to the show. Never miss an episode. And if anything resonated with you, send us the messages. We'd love to hear from you. So as we close the show, I always say, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call that living your brand. And until next episode, have a great night.